Hey there, it's Tank Girl, and I'm here in South Korea to film the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5 and the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5. So let's get into it. So let's start with the Galaxy Z Flip 5. This is the big news here on the front. We have a 3.4-inch cover display now, and as you can see, there's no camera cutouts, unlike the Moto Razr. This is just purely a little bit of a notch on the display, kind of like what we've seen on the iPhone. And of course, with this big cover display, there's a lot more you can do. The biggest news here is, of course, you can use it as a viewfinder, and it gives you a ton more space. So, you know, you can really see yourself. Here I am, so there you go. Yeah, so that's a big improvement, obviously, having this bigger screen in the front. But honestly, this is one of the few differences on this phone. If you flip it open, everything else remains the same. You have the same 6.7-inch AMOLED 120Hz 1080p panel as before, and the same essential design, right? As you can see here, there is a bunch of different cool colors available. The cameras have also remained the same. Two 12-megapixel shooters in the back, which obviously becomes the front when you're shooting there. And there's an ultra-wide 12-megapixel and a main camera 12-megapixel with OIS and an LED flash. The front-facing camera inside here is the same 10 megapixel as before. And the big other change, of course, has been the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 that's been added. So this is a new processor, obviously. You get two choices of storage this year. With 8 gigs of RAM, you get 256 gig or 512 gigs of storage. As you can see, walking through the edges, you have the same setup as before. Volume rocker, power lock key with an embedded fingerprint sensor, bunch of antenna bands, and at the bottom, you're one of the two speakers, USB Type-C for charging, couple of microphones. On the left-hand side here, you don't see much as an antenna band, and of course the SIM slot. On top here is microphone as well. But that's basically it. On the US model, we will have a millimeter wave antenna. I'm in Korea, so I think this doesn't have it. But yeah, basically nothing much has changed here other than this big cover display, which is really expansive and quite awesome and is going to give us new functionality. One of the new functionalities is that you can actually run full apps on here. Now, they have to be blessed by Samsung, and I think right now that includes a few Google apps and a few Samsung apps, but more will be coming. And with the labs feature inside the menus, you can probably let any app run in the front. That's what I'm told, at least. So let's stay tuned for that. This is what it looks like shot. As you can see, it's a really nice design, nice and clean, and the same Samsung on the hinge as before. Also, another difference that might be worthwhile is that it actually folds completely flat now, which is an improvement for sure. So yeah, this is a quick look at the Z Flip 5, and again, this is a minor improvement in terms of specs. Basically, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, same 3700 milliamp hour battery, same 25-watt charging and 15-watt wireless charging. But the big news, of course, is that cover display. And here, folks, we have the Galaxy Z Fold 5. And the first thing you'll notice immediately is it folds flat. Yes, folks, this now finally folds flat. So that's exciting. In terms of the rest of it, really the only big difference is Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. You got the same display inside and out, the same camera system, battery, and storage options. So a very minor upgrade, but let me walk you through and so you can have a look. This is the front screen, as you can see, still hasn't changed. 120 Hertz, of course. AMOLED, of course. As you can see in the back, this is a nice color blue. One of the differences here is the LED flash has moved out of the camera pod, is now to the side of the glass. But the cameras are all the same. 50 megapixel main sensor with OIS. We have a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 10 megapixel 3x zoom with OIS. So again, this hasn't changed at all since last year. Under the hood here, we have a 4400 milliamp hour battery, 25-watt charging, and 15-watt wireless charging with reverse wireless charging. Once you open it up, it's the same 7.6-inch display, 120 Hz LTPO AMOLED as before. You know, nothing's changed too much here. You have the same under-display camera here, 4 megapixel, which still shows quite a bit, so nothing too different here. And so walking through the edges here, let's quickly take a look. So on the right-hand side here, you have the power lock key, which is also the fingerprint sensor with a volume rocker, some antenna bands. At the bottom here, you have the USB Type-C port, microphone, one of the speakers. On the left-hand side here, you have the SIM tray, more antenna bands. On top, you have another speaker, microphones, and of course, you'll get the millimeter wave antenna somewhere here on one of the sides on the US model. Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, as I mentioned. Storage and RAM are 12 gigabytes and 256 or 512 gigs of storage. Again, that hasn't changed. So yeah, that's a very evolutionary step forward. The big news here is, of course, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and again, same cover display in the front, 6.2 inches, 120 hertz. So yeah, and folding flat. I'm personally very excited about it. So yeah, that's it, folks. A quick look at the Z Fold 5 here in Korea. And folks, this quickly wraps up our look at the Z Fold 5 and the Z Flip 5 Fold Flip here in Korea. Hope you enjoyed this quick video taking a look at this. Of course, like, subscribe, tell your friends, click the little bell below, comment below, and tell us what do you think. Is this enough of an evolution for Samsung? Do you feel happy with the minor updates we got this year? We'd love to know. Stay tuned for more videos, folks, and until then, cheers, everybody.